It is queuing up. Well, good morning to everybody. Some of you, I know it is more like good evening because I can already see that people from many other parts of the world are joining us today. And we welcome everybody not only to Zoom, where Julio is going to be making his presentation, but also those who are joining us on our Facebook Live channel on Friendship House. We're pleased today, very pleased, today being Wednesday, April 15th, the former deadline for filing your taxes here in the United States, but which has been extended now because of the crisis. We're very pleased to have Julio, who is a clinical psychologist based in Colombia. He's a former Friendship House student. And I will actually let him tell you where it is he's currently working, if you're comfortable doing that. Before we get started, we want to caution everybody to not ask Julio personal questions on this presentation. And we also encourage all of the participants to not divulge personal information about yourselves. So having said that, Julio, welcome, thank you, and please proceed.
Thank you, Rich, for the invitation, and thank you everyone to be here with me today. I'm very glad to have with you talking about this. This is not a nice topic to talk, but we have to share the experience that we have with the COVID-19. Right now I'm in Bogota, Colombia. Here is night 6 a.m. I live in Bogota, who is the capital city of Colombia. Currently, I'm working in an educational institution called SENA. SENA is a technical and technological institution run by the government. It's a public institution that provides technical and technological education for the people for free in Colombia. And is quite big. We have 127 branches in the country. Right now, I work in a branch here in Bogota. And also I invite some students of the SENA to this conversation, so they are here with us today. And okay, thank you everyone. Today I want to talk about the COVID-19 situation here in Colombia. I know that we all experience the COVID-19 in different ways. The virus is different in every country, and some countries are getting more troubles than others. Colombia, I think that is in the middle. We are doing okay, I think so. And I'm going to share a presentation that I made to do it, okay? Okay, I'm going to share, let me start, okay. Okay. Can you see my desktop, my presentation? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I'm going to do a report about the COVID-19 in Colombia. I'm going to start talking about the location of Colombia. Maybe some people are living in other countries and maybe don't know where is Colombia. Colombia is here, is the red country in South America. It's in the north of South America, very close to the United States. We have almost 50 million of people here in Colombia, according to the 2018 census. This is Colombia. We are divided in 32 states. We call departments, but we have 32 states in the country, 2 islands, pretty big. And we have our neighbors are Panama in this side, Venezuela, Brazil, Peru, and Ecuador. Okay, these are our neighbors. We have the Pacific Ocean in this side and the Caribbean Sea in the other side, in the north of the Colombia. So Bogota is the capital city with almost 8 million people living here. These are the 5 biggest cities in Colombia. Bogota, second is Medellin, third is Cali, fourth is Barranquilla, and 5 is Cartagena. Cartagena is very known because it's a place here in the Caribbean Sea. and is very known. It's a pretty nice place. Colombia is the second most populous country in South America after Brazil, and the third most populous country in Latin America after Mexico. Okay. The COVID-19 overview in Latin America region. Okay, Brazil was the first country with COVID-19 in Latin America. Brazil confirmed its first positive case of COVID-19 on 26th of February, making the first positive case in South America continent. The region right now has moved to a mitigation mode with all 33 countries and 15 territories reporting cases. But right now, Ecuador is currently experiencing a worse situation. They have few hospitals and many deaths. Funeral services are not enough there. Also, people from Ecuador are moving to Colombia, looking for help, because Ecuador is a very small country. They only have 17 million people, and they don't have enough hospitals. So the situation there in Ecuador is really, really bad. This chart shows the COVID-19 cases in Latin America. Brazil is the first one with 23,000 cases. Peru is second with 9,000. Ecuador is third with 7,000. Chile is fourth with 7,000. Mexico 5,000. Panama 3,000. Dominican Republic 3,000. Colombia is here with 2,852 cases. So we are in the middle, I think so. The COVID-19 in Colombia, now we have 2,852 cases. The first case in Colombia was in March 6th. It was a young woman who studied in Milan, Italy. She traveled from Italy to Colombia. She brings the first case of COVID-19. Now we have 2,852 cases, 112 deaths, and 319 people are recovered from the COVID-19. The government of Colombia right now has closed all international travel in and out of Colombia and restrict internal domestic travel within Colombia. Limited evacuation flights are still possible. But right now we don't have any flights, any domestic flights also. So the country is closed right now. This map shows the cases in every state of Colombia. If you can see, most of the people in Colombia lives in the middle of the country and in the north of the country. The south of the country here is the Amazon region, and it's mostly rainforest. Maybe only 3% of the people of Colombia live in this area. The rest of the people are living in the north part of Colombia. The place with most cases of COVID-19 in Colombia is Bogota, the capital city. We have, let me see, we had 1,205 cases in Bogota right now. So Bogota is the place with most cases, but for now we have enough hospitals and doctors to cover this, but maybe in the future we are going to be in trouble with that. Right now we are okay because we have hospitals, we have doctors, we have ventilators, we have all the things that we need to attend the people who is infected with the virus, but I don't know in the future what will be the situation. Right now we are in quarantine like most of the countries in the world. Citizens in Colombia should expect to comply with nationwide stay-at-home mandatory preventive isolation announced by the government. The quarantine will continue until 12 a.m. Monday, April 27 of 2020. The quarantine in Colombia started on March 24th. We are going to still in quarantine until April 27, but probably the government is going to extend that. Maybe we're going to extend 2 weeks more in quarantine in Colombia. All individuals in Colombia are required to shelter in place and remain inside. Most public locations will be closed. In Colombia right now, only supermarkets, maybe grocery shops, drugstores are open. The other business are closed. The other places in Colombia are closed. The people have to remain at home. Individuals over the age of 70 are expected to self-quarantine through May 2020 because they are more in risk. The people of the age of 70 or more are more in risk of take the COVID-19. The national decree allows for exit under certain circumstances, including only one member of the household can get out to purchase groceries and medicines. The transport for emergency medical care is allowed, and per relief for more than 20 minutes by one family member in the immediate area of your home. That's the only exceptions to get out from your house in Colombia right now. Only these three exceptions. For example, in Bogota, in the city where I live, only males can go out some days and other days only females, for example, to keep the quarantine. Colombian authorities will enforce quarantine and citizens could be subject to detention or arrest if out of compliance. For me, what are the consequences of the COVID-19 in Colombia? First, I want to talk about the economic topic. The gap of this quarantine, the gap of this quarantine will leave a debt of those that will come if the government is implementing more isolation cycles, could leave the Colombian economy between recession and depression. I think that that is the situation in most of the countries in the world. We lost more than $13 billion in this time. We have the possibility of the disappearance of thousands of companies because right now they are closed and they are not getting money. And the small business are in bankrupt. This is the situation. In the social uh, area, an increase in poverty is expected, increase in unemployment, of course. There has been an increase in domestic violence. This is very important because the people is in their homes and they are more likely to suffer domestic violence. In fact, in Bogota, we increased the domestic violence in 400%. In some places, people don't have food or money. The government is sending aids to those people, is sending money and food, but that's not enough because they only send like $50 per household. That kind of money is not enough to buy the food or something like that. We are experiencing an increase in case of depressions, anxiety, and or mental problems. It's normal in this situation. And we have an immigration problems because Ecuador is having really trouble with the COVID-19 and people is moving to here to find help. And in Venezuela, they have also problems. So the people from Venezuela, and we don't have all the people in this is a big problem right now. In Bogota, in the city where I live, the mayor of the city is sending help to the people, to the poor people, and is sending help for the people from Venezuela and Ecuador maybe, but not too much because we don't have too much resources to do it, okay? Now is the most important part of me. I mean, this is the economic problem and the social problems are very huge for our country and for other countries in the world. But I think that we have to talk about the good things. Maybe some business in Colombia and some people is getting donations, they're giving food, they're giving money for the people who needs. So that is very important because we are helping others together in the country. And maybe that is the good side of the COVID-19. They, I don't know, teach us how to work together and how to share with others the things that we have. So, how to deal with isolation and quarantine? As you know, I'm a psychologist and I'm very interested in these kind of topics because it's not only social or economical problems that we are experiencing, because some people are in their houses with depression, with anxiety, with violence problems. Some people need to talk about, some people don't know how to deal with this situation because it's new for us, it's new for all the people in the world. I never, for example, I never experienced something like that. I never experienced stay at my home all the time with talking with people, with having a normal life. So we have to change things in ourselves in order to deal with the isolation and quarantine. Uh, I'm going to give you some tips that I think are important to deal with it. The first one is be social. Socialization is the key, especially if you feel isolated. Feeling connect with others, word of loneliness and stress, you can still together with your family and friends, maybe talking by phone, using uh, Facebook or internet, maybe send an email, but you need be in touch with the people that you love. Okay, so be social is the main rule, is the main things to deal with the isolation. Some people are in their houses right now and maybe they're spending 2 weeks without talking with anyone, and that is critical. So the first thing is be social. I think that is the most important thing. The second one is spend quality time with your family and friends, maybe the people who live with you. You can do those activities that you don't always have time for. Play board games, do puzzles, bake together, have the relaxed conversation. While you have the opportunity, remember that that conversations should have about nice things. Sometimes the couples or the families are start to talking about difficult uh, topics, and they start to argue in the family, and that could cause violence. Remember, talk about nice things, maybe read a book, look for a nice playlist of music. Personally, I have in YouTube a playlist with nice music, and I play all day long, and it's very nice to me. It makes me feel relaxed. This is very important. Take a break from news. You know, television, internet, all the sources of information are full of things about COVID-19, coronavirus, and these kind of things. And you maybe get too much information and that clog up your brain. You need to relax. Take 20-hour news cycles can make anxiety spikes. People who are in the television all day long or the internet looking about the coronavirus is going to make you crazy. I think so. So you need to give yourself a limit, stick with what you need to know and what's happening in your community. Try limiting your news intake to 30 to 40 minutes, 1 or 2 updates a day. That should be enough to be informed. Stick with 1 or 2 reliable news sources. Quickly scroll past triggering headlines and photos. Read only what's relevant to you, because the excess of information, I think, is something bad. You need to be informed, but not too much and not all day long. The people talking about COVID-19 and nothing else, that is really, really bad. The fourth uh, thing is change your mindset. I think that is very important. You have to avoid thinking too much about the future or worst case scenarios, because maybe some people are thinking, oh, this is the end of the world, we're gonna die, and only think in bad things. That is not healthy. Forecasting can trigger anxiety. Instead of saying, I'll never recover, tell yourself it make it through this. That is very important. Have hope in the future. Okay, maybe now the things are very bad, but in the future, I think that this will change a lot. Try mindfulness, watch videos on guided meditation and yoga. That is very helpful. There are plenty of downloadable apps you can use. Practice gratitude. Studies suggest finding something to be grateful for every day improves mood. Try to see the good things about coronavirus. I think that no coronavirus could be a bad thing, the worst things in the world, or could be a blessing. Could be a blessing because I think that coronavirus teaching us to, I don't know, to stay at home, to share with our families, to don't think about money, about work, about traffic jam, about the problems in the outside world. Maybe now we are in home and we have enough time to do the things that we never do. I have a lot of books that I never read, and now I'm reading that books, so that is good for me. Practice gratitude, I say, is really good for your soul and your mind. Organize your time. That is very, very important. Have a schedule. What you need right now is a daily routine. You have to continue with your routine, mm, that will keep your feet firmly on the ground. Get up at the same time, go to bed at the appropriate time. I have friends that right now are maybe go to bed at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. watching videos or reading news, and that's not healthy. Do not set goals that are too ambitious. Set goals that you can reach in your house, in your space. Take some time to plan the schedule. Don't hurry up with that. Stick to your usual work study times. For example, right now I'm working at my home. I get up at 6 a.m. I took the breakfast at 6:30. I take a shower at 7 a.m. And at 8 a.m. I start to work in my house. I have my computer, my desk, my space. I work until 1 p.m. I take a lunch. Then I rest a little bit. And in the afternoon, I switch. I study. I read a book. I listen music. At the night, I try to do relaxing things to sleep well. So at the night, I try to listen music, to watch funny videos, to call my mom, call my parents, call my brother, talk with my friends, and then maybe at 10 p.m. I go to bed, and I do it every day. You need a schedule to, in order to keep your mind in order. Eat at certain times as you're used to. Maybe if you are in your home, you are eat too much, so you have to control that. Eat at certain times, are used to eat healthy food, because if you eat too much sugar of this kind of foods, maybe you are going to feel sick or tired. Limit children use of digital devices. I have friends with children and they let them use the cell phone or the computer all day long. And that's not healthy too. They need to use it maybe for a while, but then have to switch to other activities. And the most important is be flexible, because sometimes Some people are very strict, very straight with the things that they can do. And now you need to be flexible. All the world is flexible right now. We used to work in offices. Now we work from home. We used to drive maybe 1 or 2 hours per day. Now the car is in the garage. We don't use cars. In the past, we used to be stressed all day long. Now we have time to stay at home, to take a breath of the outside world. And that is important to me. I think that is the most important. For that reason, think that the COVID-19 is not so bad. The COVID-19 has a good part. That is that COVID-19 give us the opportunity to recover our time, recover the space with our families. So that is more important to me. And I want to say this, let me see, these are an extraordinary circumstances. Don't you have to be perfect. Just do your best. This is not forever. I will end at one point and life will go back to normal. I think so, but I think that life go back to normal, but we have to learn about this situation. For example, when I watch TV, I notice that in the world, the politicians, governors, and people who are running the countries are more uh, are, are, are more are able to think about. They're more worried about money, about business, and they are not so much worried about the people. I think that another experience with COVID-19 is that the most important thing in the world is not the money or the business or the things that you have. Maybe in this moment you have a lot of money in your bank account, but you can use it. The money is just paper right now. Right now, you only have yourself, your family, your friends, and the time to do it, the things that you want to do. And this is the most important. I was watching the news last night, and maybe the president of your country, he was talking about the money, the economy, how to get out the money from the OEMs and things like that. And I think that the most important thing here is thinking that the most important or the valuable things that we have is the health and the family. The other things doesn't care too much. Thanks to you. I'm talking too much in this moment, and I want to maybe see the questions that you have for me. Thank you.
Really wonderful report on not only what's going on in your country, but this fabulously helpful information of what we can do in our personal lives to manage, to cope, and to survive. And personally, I thank you for that. For those of you who joined us after we began, our presenter today is Julio, who is a clinical psychologist based in Bogota, Colombia. We invite those of you who are on our Zoom account here to ask questions directly that you may have. For those of you who are on Facebook, we invite you to type your questions in the comment section, and I'll make sure that Julio knows what they are and has a chance to answer them. Before we begin with questions, Julio, I always keep track of who's joining us on these COVID reports. And with apologies to any I may miss, we have people from Indonesia, Egypt, Bolivia, Vietnam, Mexico, Brazil, Venezuela, Moldova, Nepal, and of course your home country of Colombia that are watching today. So again, thanks to all for taking time to join us. Starting in no particular order as we wait for other questions that may surface here. Let me check our chat. No questions there. I was, one point that you raised about how Colombia is handling this, or at least Bogota is handling this, is the segregation of males and females when they can go out. And can you give us a little idea of what the thinking is behind that?
Okay, the mayor took that rule because some of the people, the first rule was you only get out of your house for buy groceries or go to the doctor or buy medicines, but a lot of people go out to the streets without reason. So in order to that, the mayor say, no, only some days males can go out to the street only if you are going to buy groceries or medicines or something critical, and some days females. This rule start this week, so we are in the first days of that rule, so was for that reason.
Okay, thank you. We do have a question. Maybe if we could hold off on this one until the end. We have a viewer that has asked if you could go back to your screens on how to cope, but maybe we save that towards the end because she would like to take notes. I would point out to those of us joining us today that this presentation by Julio will be recorded, is being recorded, and will be available for later viewing on the Friendship House Facebook page. You also mentioned that the only reasons that you can go out is the groceries, pharmacy, or medical care. Are your restaurants open for purposes of takeout or delivery of food?
Yeah, some restaurants are open only if you uh, take out the food or asking the food by an app or by phone. They can deliver food, but the restaurant, the place are not open to public.
Okay, we have a question from Dr. Wolf. How are the children getting school education?
Okay, but right now the schools and university are closed until May of 2020, but the schools and the universities are doing virtual classes. They are doing through internet some classes. The teacher are sending the students some workshops and materials to study at home. Actually, I'm studying at home because I'm doing a master's degree right now, and the teachers of my university, they are sending me the works and they're sending me the lectures and the books, and I'm studying at home. But all the universities and the schools are closed until May of 2020.
Now, at what we would call elementary school or high school level, are they also doing online education, or does everybody have access to a computer for this kind of teaching?
Yeah, elementary school and high schools are doing the same, but the problem is, you mentioned, uh, not everybody has a computer in their homes, or not everybody has access to internet. So we have problems with that, because yeah, the poor people or the people who lives in the small towns, they don't have that resources. So that is a big problem. I don't know how the government is going to resolve it, but right now, in the possible ways, we're trying to give education through internet.
Okay, well, you were talking about the fact that you're working from home. Are you able to work with clients, patients online?
Actually, most of the people is working from their homes. We're trying to do it. We are learning how to do it because this situation is new for us. For example, in my work, I'm working from my home. We are improve how to do it. We are trying to learn what is the best way to work from their homes. We have problems because, for example, in my work, we have to fill some papers and sign some papers, and now we can do it. So we are going to improve another ways to do it. It's a difficult process, but at the end, it leaves us very nice things, because now we are not using paper. That is good for the environment, right? We are just using our computers. These kind of things, I think that could be right now for us. I try to see the good side of the COVID-19 all the time, because if not, I'm going to be crazy in a small amount of time.
Thank you, Julio. You had mentioned that with the what we might call a kind of a lockdown or this quarantine period, that there are some severe penalties for those who violate it. At least where Bogota is concerned, do you have any idea of how many arrests or detentions or fines may have been issued?
Yeah, I think that in the last month, we have maybe 2,000 of arrests for that reason. If you go out from your house and you don't have any real reason to be out, you will fine with maybe $500 is the first fine. But if you are doing again and again, you are going to jail for sure. And this apply for nationwide. It's not just Bogota.
Okay. Do you have to carry papers with you when you go out to the grocery or pharmacy?
Yeah, for example, if you have a job that you need to go out, you need to show a paper to prove that. If you are going to a medical appointment, you have to have a paper to prove that. If you are going to do shopping or grocery or buy groceries, you have to tell to the police officer what is the grocery, where you are going on, and these kind of things. Yeah, you have to prove it why you are out of your house.
Uh, some of the common questions that come up with these COVID reports, such as you're doing today, have to do with things like testing and shortages. If you needed or wanted to go be tested today, how easy or difficult is that?
In the big cities, is easy. You have to dial a phone, a number, and they are sending people to your house to do the test. You don't need to go out for that. But in the small cities, in the small towns, maybe it could be difficult because we don't have enough tests or we don't have enough personnel to do it. But in the big cities, is easy to do it. It's not a big deal.
How long do you have to wait for your test results on average?
An average right now is like 3 or 4 days for the test results. At the beginning of this pandemic, the results could, you have to wait maybe 1 week. And that was critical because in 1 week you could be dead, right?
How about shortages? Primarily, do you have any supply problems with foods or with other household supplies?
No, at this moment, if you go to the grocery shop, you can find everything. We don't have problems with that. At the beginning of the COVID-19, we had problems because the people get panic about that, and all the people go to the grocery stores and buy a lot of things that they don't need. So at the beginning, it was critical, but right now, if you go to a grocery shop, you can find everything that you want. Everything is normal.
Well, that's good, and also a positive report you gave was that you, at the current time, you had sufficient ventilators, personal face masks, and medical equipment for the people working in your hospitals and clinics. And we hope it, certainly hope it stays that way. We'd like to also remind people that if you're on our Zoom, please feel free to ask any questions. People on Facebook watching us today, please type your questions on the comment section, and we'll see that Julio has a chance to answer them. One question that has been raised, and you alluded to it towards the beginning of your presentation, was the issue of refugees, principally from Venezuela and Ecuador. What is your observation about are folks living in camps or centers that are not Colombian citizens, and is there, what provision is being made for their testing and treatment and so forth?
Okay, we have a lot of problems with that because it's difficult. We want to help the people from Venezuela and the people who is coming from Ecuador, but we don't have enough resources to do it. So, for example, the last week, the mayor of Bogota says that refugees are not problem of the city. So she said it's not our business. So she doesn't care about that. But the national government is providing them for now. It's providing shelter and aids, but we don't know how far we can do it because we don't have enough resources, and this COVID-19 situation is very difficult for the economy, and it's very difficult for all the people because now people maybe who has a small business are in bankrupt. I know people that have maybe a small barber shop, and now they are complete 1 month without getting money, so they have to pay for the place, they have to pay for the bills, and really they don't have money to do it. So it's a difficult situation, but we are trying to help as much as possible.
What is your impression? We have another question from a viewer here. What is your impression about where to get the information you need? Do you rely more on the national government or state or department or local government, in your case, Bogota?
For example, I prefer and I trust in the local government in Bogota. The mayor of Bogota is a person who are doing very well your job. But the national government, I think that sometimes they try to make up the information. It's my feeling, you know. I think that the national government sometimes they hide some things. For example, some days ago we have a huge scandal because the government is sending money to the poor people, and we discovered that some of that money is coming out, that money is being robbed for people who doesn't need. So, and was I don't know, I think that the responsibility was of the government too, because they have some, I don't know, people who steal the money from the poor people, and we have a huge scandal some days ago because of that. We have a lot of corruption in our country. That is sad to say, but it's the reality.
Well, thank you for your honest observation of things. You know, one very important question from one of our viewers is, how is your family and friends doing?
Okay. Happily, my friends and family are doing okay. They are stay at home. They have all the resources they need. They are healthy right now. Is very nice because we are okay, but I really know people who is close to me that are having economical troubles. So that worried to me. But right now, my family and I are still good.
Well, we're grateful for that, Julio. I think maybe this would be a good time if you have time to go back to your screen sharing on how we ought to be personally looking at this COVID situation and how we should be handling it, if you would be so kind.
Okay, I'm going to go back to my. Let me see. I want to say before talk about that something that is good for us in this moment is try to read, try to watch movie, try to find things that are inspirational, right? For example, the last week or 2 weeks ago, I wrote the text that Rich post on his Facebook about his mother, the story of Grandma Jean, and it was so inspiring to me. I shared that story with my friends and family because I felt that it was a nice story about how the problems in the world you can come out of that. Okay, that is very inspirational. I want to come back uh, in my presentation to remember that the tips that I give you, the first one was be social, right? To stay connected with your loved ones. The second one, remember that you have to spend quality time. Quality time means try to do the things that you want to do with the people that are living with you or maybe with yourself. Take your time for you. The third advice that I give you was take a break from news. I think that this is the most important tip because too much information, too much negative information could be dangerous for your mental health. So please stay away from the news just for a while. Change your mindset. As I said, you need to think in a different way right now. We are in a different scenario with the COVID-19. So, for example, watch videos about meditation, yoga, listen nice music could be helpful right now. I think that this is the most helpful advice. Have a schedule, organize your time. You need to do the things that you used to do. You need to keep for example, getting up at the same time, go to bed at the appropriate time, set goals that you can reach, take some time to plan the schedule, stick to your usual work and study times, eat at certain times. You are used to limit children use of digital devices and be flexible. I think that if you want to keep your mind in order, you need to do it. Have a schedule to do the activities in the day and you don't feel that you are isolated all the time. And I think that the most important thing is how you can value the things that you have. Okay, you have to value your family, your friends, the things that you can do. Your health is the most important thing right now. It's not the money. You can have money in the bank and you can use it anyway. So try to be focused in what is the most important thing. And I think that we have to learn about the COVID-19, how to deal with that feelings that we have inside of us. I mean, try to be more relaxed in our houses, think in the future, but in a good way. You don't have to think all the time the worst case scenario or what's going to happen, what this end. Try to be focused in the time that you are living right now and expect the more positive things from this.
Well, thank you so much, Julio, for re-summarizing those points there. Again, we want to remind everybody that Julio's entire presentation is being recorded and will be available for later viewing on the Friendship House Facebook page. I think we've reached a point we need to bring our time with you to a close. You have our profound gratitude, Julio, for reporting about things in your country today, and especially giving us the benefit of your professional insight and advice, which I think all of us can take to heart. So we wish you and your family and your friends and your colleagues much safety and health. And I would like to also take this opportunity to remind folks, we're especially pleased today to have not one, but two COVID reports from different parts of the world. Today, this morning, we've had Julio from Colombia, and at 12 o'clock, which is only about an hour from now here in Michigan, we're going to have a live COVID report about Egypt. So we invite all of you to either join us by Zoom. We'll be posting a reminder on the Zoom link on our Facebook page, or you can just watch us live on our Facebook page. So having said that, God bless you, all of you, especially you, Julio, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich, for this opportunity. I'm glad to see you again. I hope to see you soon. Personally, I hope to travel to the United States as soon as possible, because I had a plan to travel to there, but I have to cancel. And thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for everyone to join to this conversation, and stay at home and stay safe, please.
Well said. Thank you. God bless.